with a righteous anger, and we want communism snuffed out completely in this country, and the communists know it. They know that that was probably too far. Uh-oh, oopsie, we look bad. Everyone knows we're demons. Now is the time to purge them from our shores. And as per usual, that it is that exact moment you will find GOP elected leaders from almost always from blood red states who step up and try to fade the heat for them. It's time for unity, guys.
And so the time for unity, the time for peace, it is now.
No. No peace with demons.
Well, look, the bottom line is this is a time that all Americans should come together and feel and mourn what happened. Violence, which affects so many different people of so many different political persuasions, is an affliction of America. And coming together is what we ought to be doing, not pointing fingers of blame.
This moment requires leadership that brings the American people together as opposed to trying to further divide us. Political violence in any form against any American is unacceptable, should be denounced by everyone, and moving forward, we have to figure out a better way to come together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there, pulling up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Blue Sky, the left-wing alternative to X, was so overwhelmed with these posts that the platform was forced to issue a statement warning its users to stop glorifying the murder. And it wasn't just random social media trolls. It was journalists, elite college professors, and even politicians, all but saying Charlie's assassination was justified because of what he thought, because of what he said. We saw the flood of hit pieces, the most powerful media outlets in the nation dishonestly attacking and villainizing Charlie for the most vicious possible terms. How can you ask us to unite under that? There can be no unity between good and evil. Somebody has to win this thing. And as a country, we have to absolutely reject it. And don't tell me it's both sides. It didn't happen in a vacuum. Over the past decade, we've seen an explosion of political violence, not just one-off lone wolf attacks, but organized, systemic political violence at a mass scale. It is not organic. It is the offspring of a dark and clandestine system funded in part with our own tax dollars, winning with a large network of foundations, NGOs, activist organizations, and front groups. This system lurks behind every radical leftist movement in our nation today. The George Soros empire has financed a vast ecosystem of radicals, all working together, dropping off bricks at riots to unleash a tidal wave of violently anarchists on our streets and to prop it up in an army of researchers and experts and journalists and propagandists who downplay the political violence.
What he's doing is serious.
I'm going to ask you, because I don't have a ton of time,
The opposite of what we should be doing as a committee.
and I would point out, we've heard years of the left, their loudest voices calling anyone on the right extremist MAGA Republicans, fascists, Nazis, an existential threat to democracy. Check yourself. And don't give me this bullshit.
Absolutely spot on, Eric Schmidt, senator from Missouri, and the first gentleman that came on. We don't have unity with demons. It's perfect. Perfect. The call for unity is insane. Welcome to Truth with J.J. Carrell. The truth is that there is evil in our world, and the evil side is the left. History will prove that they are demonic, that they are mentally insane, they are unfit for society. What do we do with them? That's a big question. What do we do with them? I think the very first thing we do is we never keep our mouth shut. We hear them in the square, the town halls, the grocery stores, city councils, and we mock them. We shame them, and we push them back to where they came from in the dark recesses of our society. Let them fester. And every time they stick their head out, we mock them and shame them. And every time they do something vile, then we attack them and we put them in jail. Through our Constitution, of course. And let me tell you something. If we do not begin to eradicate these people from our society and shun them, and we keep going down this dark road, we will die as a nation. That's not hyperbole. That's not, I want clicks. That's just a rational human being looking at the current situation and saying out loud to themselves, our nation cannot sustain this insanity much longer, if at all. It's like we're hurtling down this dark highway, and we know 6 months, 18 months, 5 years from now, somewhere in that realm, there's a gigantic brick wall. And we're going to slam right into it. And there's just so many off-ramps, and we keep passing them. So the chance to correct gets smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point that I believe that we are maybe 1 or 2 off-ramps away from everybody going, screw it. We're all going to hurtle to our death. There'll be some survivors after it explodes and we run into the brick wall and everyone dies. There'll be a few of us. We'll cobble together and create a new United States of America. And you may say, well, JJ, that might be a little over the top analogy, really? Let's project 5 years from now. 5 years, not 50, 5 years. Technology will increase. We will be murdering babies as they come out of the mom's vaginal canal onto the doctor's hand, and he'll just shunt its brain. It's gone. Technology will be so great that now we'll begin to do plastic surgery and medical procedures to completely alter young boys and girls to the opposite sex. at the whim of their parents. 5 more years of the banks running us. We will have inflation that is outrageous. We already have inflation. I don't know how Trump or anybody's going to roll back. The genie's out of the bottle. There's no putting the bottle back in. What are you going to do? How are you going to regulate and bring down prices? Honestly, how are you going to do that? The dollar's worthless. That's the thing that you got to understand. We're going to have more oil and gas. Yeah, I want that. That'll ease things down and bring the cost down a little bit. But the dollar's been inflated, so now it's worthless. Young kids can't buy houses. The American dream has disappeared. What do you think it's going to look like in 5 years? We have Pam Bondi talking about hate speech. Hate speech. It's like the Harris administration's in office. We're talking about hate speech. So what's going to happen in 5 years? Shows like this are going to be gone. We live in a secular nation. We live in a nation that's demographics have been completely altered. When the next president comes in and they're a Democrat, you're going to see the mass invasion of people again. And then it's I believe it's already over. It's just now a bomb. When is the bomb going to go off? The birth bomb. But when they bring in another 30, 40 million illegal aliens, it's over. It's over. Our nation was created for a certain population that believed in certain things. Jesus Christ believed in personal responsibility. It believed in dignity, respect, the arts, literature, property rights, decorum, civility. But you brought in the third world, and everyone's shocked that our country's different. Well, of course it's different, you jackasses. Why did you think it's different? It's like living in a house. You have a nice 4-bedroom, 4-bath house. It's you, your wife, your daughter, and your son. Everything's going great. But now I brought in 10 homeless men from 10 different nations. No one speaks the same language. Do you think your house is going to have the same feel? You think you're going to have the same Sunday dinners? You think you're just going to go to church? You think you're going to come home and just take naps and watch some football? Or do you think there's going to be a little violence and chaos in your house? You think you're going to have different smells in your house, different foods, different language, dialects, customs, norms? Well, your daughter's 13. Back in my third world hellhole, I can marry her and begin to have sex with her. Why don't I just have sex with her? Oh, you know what? I don't even need to marry her. I'm a Muslim and she's an infidel. I'm going to just rape her because Allah says that and Muhammad says it's okay for me to rape infidels. There's no difference between your house being invaded and your nation being invaded. It's the same concept. It's exactly the same. And when you look at the proportions to, say, a family of 4 bringing in 10 people, there's no difference between having a family of 350 million and bringing in over 100 million. We have over 100 million foreign nationals, both legal and illegal, in America right now. Right now, as I speak. 55 million people are here on a visa. Do you know who controls the visas? United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. Do you know how many officers they have? 0. Let me repeat that to you. They have no law enforcement authority. 0. They're trying to get them some law enforcement authority. Okay. Yeah, you know what I love? This is a side issue, but really not. I love how people say, and I believe this, law enforcement is the answer, right? More law enforcement, get them out there, enforce the law on everybody, not just certain groups, on everybody in every class. But I love how everyone's like, just need more law enforcement. Let's get more law enforcement out there. Everything's going to be okay. And I just laugh every time. And I go, it's not that you put a help wanted ad out on Indeed I need 50 cashiers at Starbucks here, or I need a couple grocers or midnight stockers, and I'm not bagging on those people. That's hard work. I did that before. It's not. You have to have a skill set. I'm not bagging on that, but I could take someone that could be a warehouse worker, and I could train them in 48 hours, and then they'll have some hiccups but within 30 days they're rolling, right? A barista, I could do the same thing. Cashier, they can clunk around, but within a week or two, they're rolling, right? There's no that law enforcement doesn't work that way, people. All right, it just doesn't work that way. You have to go through a stringent hiring process so you weed out the mentally unstable, because you have, I would say, probably less than a 1% of the population wants to do law enforcement. Out of that 1%, 1/10 of that 1% actually has the physical tools to do the job. So your pool is almost non-existent, and you're fighting between military, state, local, and federal police. So now it's an absolute grab to get somebody. Then after the year process of going background checks and make sure their finances are right, they don't have split loyalties, they don't have any crimes, you've interviewed all their friends and family, neighbors, prior employers, prior co-workers, it takes a long time. And then I got to run them through the academy, because I got to teach them how to shoot. I got to teach them how to arrest. I got to teach them the laws and policies. I got to teach them how to think on their feet. Then after a good 6 to 7 months, I put them out in not the field by themselves. I have to put them in a training unit for several months. I have to teach them where the bathroom is. I have to teach them where we file papers. How do you fill out your time and attendance? How do you ask for days off? All right, now let's gather up all our gear, guys. Now we're going to go out in the field. I'm going to teach you how to do the job, the real job, not the one that's sterilized in the academy. But we're going to go talk to gang members and rapists and murderers, and we're going to have to arrest them. And I'm going to show you what that looks like and feels like and smells like and tastes like. Get ready to have your world explode. And then after about 2 years, I finally get a product that I can put out into the field. That's the same thing as I need to hire 50 people at my five Starbucks that I own. It's going to take me 2 years to get these baristas up and running. What? My business is going to fold. Well, that's what it's like in law enforcement. And then what if I told you I'm going to send your after 2 years of training, I'm going to put that person out into the field and they're not going to be effective. Even if they're really, really good, they are going to be making mistakes constantly. Not because they're incompetent, because the world that they are living in and working in is so chaotic. And the physicalness of the job, where you're having to take people's liberties and freedoms, it's going to be chaotic. And that brings us full circle to the people that are in our country that celebrate murder, encourage chaos, encourage death and destruction, encourage the absolute dismantling of America. And we do not, if we're honest, if we're really, truly honest, the side that we're on does not currently have the wherewithal, the stomach, the guts, the courage, or even the institutions and apparatuses needed to eradicate the enemy from within. That is the horrible truth. Because within, quote, our side, we have absolute defined factions. We have people inside of our side that wants to capitulate and get along. We need to tamper down. We need to de-escalate. Why? Why am I being asked to de-escalate when the other side is escalating? Do you want me to die? Do you want me to have pain and suffering? And that's valid questions. And I have to ask you because you keep asking for civility. And you keep asking for de-escalation. And that faction within our side attacks us. The enemy's over there. But you're attacking me? I'm the problem? I haven't killed anybody. I haven't broken any laws. I'm not doing a two-step on their grave. Why am I under the scrutiny? Why do I have to change? What have I done wrong? By pointing out the other side is mentally unstable and unfit and they're a danger to society? You want me to stop saying that? That's the de-escalation? How about this? I'm tired of doing your bidding. I'm tired of trying it your way. Your way for decades has failed us and failed us miserably. How about we try something different? Why don't we try to be on the offensive? Why don't we go for the jugular? Why don't we? Why don't we? Because we're corrupt as a nation. I listened to Pam Bondi, who I'm going to get into later, talk about hate speech. I'm going to talk about Kash Patel, who did a great rendition of how to just talk right back to the mental patients on the Senate side, the Democrat side, but then stated Jeffrey Epstein didn't do anything wrong. There's no evidence that he trafficked children. I mean, America, I hate to say this, but you have been sold. You may not see it as clearly as I do. You may not believe it as strongly as I do, but I know on some level, intellectually, you feel it. You know it. On some level in your soul, you feel it. You feel uneasy. You feel frightened. You feel as if nothing makes sense. You feel that way because all of those feelings are true. I'm going to play this clip. I'm going to mispronounce her name, but Batya Ungar Sargon, she explains it perfectly on News Nation. Exactly what I'm saying. Why am I being told that what I may be saying is hate speech? Why am I being asked to tamper down? Why is the people doing the evil allowed to just continue to do evil? Play this one for us, Logan, please.
There's a lot of calls for unity now. I love calls for unity. There's also people saying both sides are to blame. This is a problem of political violence on both sides. I want to just explain briefly why this is so offensive to people on the right to hear right now. It's because it is not true. It is asking them to bear the burden of the guilt that harmed them before Charlie's body has even been buried. They are being asked to assume half of the guilt for a crime committed against their side, the likes of which there just is no parallel from right-wing violence to left. Has one Democrat come out and said, I apologize for calling Trump Hitler? Has one Democrat come out and said, I apologize for calling Charlie Kirk, hateful or spreading hate speech? Has one Democrat come out and said, I regret saying that the right are all fascists and Nazis? No. So I want to take this arm that's being held out to me in unity. But, you can ask for unity instead of revenge, and you should. You cannot ask for unity at the price of the truth. And I am being asked, in order to take that hand, to co-sign a lie that there is no guilt at the upper echelons of the Democratic Party, which brings me back to those two young men you started with.
Geraldo, you get the last word.
Geraldo, you can't apologize because you never said it. But what about AOC who said it? And what about Kamala Harris who said it? And what about Joe Biden who said it? And what about Chris Murphy who said it? What about Gavin Newsom, who said we're going to punch them in the face a week ago? Where's the apology? When Donald Trump says something and it leads, God forbid, to an assassination of a huge figure, then I will apologize. Then that will be the time to ask me for the apology. But right now, the greatest avatar on the right was murdered in cold blood because he told his family the exact same things that every major Democrat says on the regular. That's where the guilt is.
That's where the guilt is. She's spot on. I can't stand Geraldo. I've never liked him. Never liked him. He's a little tiny man that thinks he's 7 feet tall. And he's a racist. It's a racist. Talk about immigration. All he focuses on his people, his Latino people. As over 180 nations, 185 nations poured into America, he focuses on his people. That's a side issue. He's ineffectual. It's ineffectual. Time's passed him by. Nobody wants to hear from him or people like him anymore. They just don't. I want everyone watching to go to, this is a sponsor that I love and respect, and I love their product. It's Pet Club 24/7. Pet Club 24/7, or go to truthwithjj247.com. We're attacked on every front. You know it. You feel it. The food. There's times I'm eating food and I'm thinking, damn, what is in this? Right? And then I try to eat healthy and I think, wait a minute. Why does this watermelon look weird? Why is this pineapple weird? Is it this water has a twinge to it? What is going on? Well, we're being poisoned and everyone knows it. RFK Jr.'s come out and said it. He's being proved. Well, you know, seeding the skies, you guys are lunatic. That's not happening. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. It is. Okay, you guys said there's aluminums in the sky and plastics and everything else. You guys are nut jobs. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You guys are right about that too. Oh, okay. We're right about it all. Well, how do you get this out of your system? You have to have something that's going to amplify your immune system, increase your immune system, increase your gut health. And this is what Truth with JJ247 at Pet Club. It helps your pets and humans. Same thing. It's all natural. It's from a mushroom. Kurt and Kristen have been able to synthesize it to a pill form, to a balm, to a capsule form, dog treats. And it's natural. And it helps your body's immune system because, as I have learned, everything that is wrong with you today, almost the vast majority of all your illnesses come from inflammation and bad gut health. So I use the green bottle. My friend Alpha Warrior uses the blue bottle for clarity, and it works. Go to Truth with JJ247, truthwithjj247.com, and just go on their website and see it. And look at the 400 peer review studies, look at all the testimonies, look at all that, and make a decision if you need it, if you need better gut health, better immune system. I know I do. COVID twice, remdesivir twice, maybe 3 times. I should have died. I have that mRNA. I didn't take the vaccine, but I have whatever they created in North Carolina or China or a combination thereof. I have it in my body. I have it inside of my body, and I need my immune system to work at the highest level to eradicate this crap out of my body. And that's why I use Pet Club 24/7. When I'm talking to Logan prior to the show, and we're talking about the insanity of this kabuki theater that we're watching, that this assassination attempt of Charlie Kirk. Let's look at this just for a second, okay? Some little transgender lover freak climbs up on top of a building, shoots Charlie Kirk with a gun that he assembles on the roof, supposedly assembles the sight on site. And I need to stop there for you to understand. When you put a sight on a rifle, just because that red dot hits your target doesn't mean your gun, the round is going to hit the target, because your sight has not been sighted in. So when you get a new sight, or you just get a new gun, so like say I go in the Border Patrol and I have an M4 that is assigned to me. Let's say that it's gone for cleaning purposes, or they need to add something to it, clean it, change out the muzzle, whatever it is, and they hand me a different M4. It has the sight on it. Everything's good. Before I go and qualify with that, I'm going to ask the range officer, hey, sir, this is not my M4. I need to sight in the scope. Okay, range stop. JJ is going to shoot several rounds to line it up. And now my sight, because everyone sees differently, my sight is lined up. I'm hitting dead center mass at 25 yards. So you're telling me, and I've listened to multiple warrior snipers say that is the luckiest shot that kid has ever made in his entire life by sheer luck, or as a professional hit. So you're telling me some kid climbed up on top of the rooftop, assembled his gun, assembled it, just put it together, and then put a scope on it, didn't sight it in. He's not a professional. His heart, people, had to be pounded. He must have thought people could hear his heart pounding. That means his trigger pull could not have been perfect, because he would have been breathing so heavy. So up and down, up. Why is the breathing so important when you're shooting? Because the only action needs to be in your finger. You can't be moving your gun. If you're breathing high and exhaling low, your gun, because the stock is up on your shoulder, your face is on the sight, looking through the sight. That means you'd be moving up and down. That's why those guys are so still. The snipers are so still, and they do the long breathing. And when they exhale, they pull the trigger smooth. You're telling me this newbie, this guy that likes to bang his transgender boyfriend, is this marksman from 200 yards away? When I go to qualify United States Border Patrol 4 times a year, I have to take a few practice shots with my M4 that is sighted in. An M4, okay, a military grade weapon. I don't even know what this kid was shooting. Some rifle? I have a military grade M4 that I have to sight in at 25 yards away, 50 yards away. 4 times what I qualify on, this kid shoots his one shot only, and it's a kill shot. You believe that? At the same time, there's disturbances, and a crazed white man, old white man, is screaming, I shot him, shoot me. What? Do you think that's random? Do you think that is random? A shot is heard, and some guy that claims to be at 9/11, claims to be at the Boston Marathon, or planted some bombs, or put a bomb threat in Salt Lake City Marathon, and now he's at this one, and now he gets arrested with child pornography on his computer? Do you really believe this? Do you really honestly believe everything you're being told? Maybe that's the shooter. Maybe it's a lone wolf. Maybe I'm an astronaut and I went to Mars. Maybe I'm a brain surgeon. Maybe I eradicated cancer already. I'm going to give you another exhibit of what I will never believe. I want you to imagine, if you can, even, and I know this is, I can't even get my brain to go there, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I want you to think about, you just assassinated one of the biggest, outside of Donald Trump in America, you probably would have to put Charlie Kirk right in this upper echelon, right above Donald Trump as the most known. Athletes, actors, Charlie Kirk. Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk, Elon Musk. That's the realm. You go and you assassinate one of those top people, and then you're texting your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your transgender freak, and you text him or her everything that you did, knowing everyone's going to see it. You're still on the run. Everyone's going to see it. And when you text, your grammar is almost perfect. I can't even text. Like when I'm texting somebody and there's no pressure on me, I'm making mistakes. I go back, I change it. Okay. And even I go, dang it, man. I didn't catch that stupid spell check and it turned my word into something else. You're right. We've all been there. We've all done that. No. This guy's using perfect grammar all the way through. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read this text exchange. Okay. Logan, if you can blow that up a little bit, I'm going to read it from my phone. You know what? Hold on one second. Yep. I'm going to read it from my phone. Okay. This is from Robinson to his roommate. His roommate's a transgender man that is becoming whatever the hell that means, becoming a female. You know what I mean. He's a freak that is most likely going to cut off his genitals very soon. So I'm going to read it, and it's important that I read it. It's important that I read the whole thing, okay? Now, I want you to, again, to put yourself in the position that you just murdered someone, you're on the run, and everyone's looking for you, but you take time to text your lover using this language. I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep the secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? And his lover says, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Robinson, no. They grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of this hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated with. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they have moved on. Haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. I worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back the grandpa's rifle. IDEK. If it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints I had to leave in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability time to bring it with. Might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain to losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was a rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are most likely a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That's really effing sucks. You take that off the screen. Isn't it unbelievable that you're texting somebody telling them exactly where everything is? The text should have been this. Hey man, I love you so much. Look, I've done something. I still believe in what I did, but I'm on the run. I need X, Y, and Z. Lock everything down. Don't tell anybody anything. Get a lawyer. I will call you when I can. I love you. Bye. And there would be spelling errors. And then you would try to text back and it would just be done because obviously the killer would have turned his phone off and stopped everything, all tracing ability, thrown his phone away, something, right? No, the dude talking to his transgender freak basically says everything that he did. You believe that? Are you really that stupid? Do you really believe that this is the text message? Do you believe this guy climbed up on top of a roof, assembled his gun, put a scope on it, didn't sight it in because he didn't have any free shots, shot the first time, killed Charlie Kirk, then some old man claims that he shot him and then openly states that he did that as a diversion so the other guy gets away. Then he climbs down, disassembles his gun, climbs down, runs into the woods, reassembles his gun, only to leave it there wrapped in a towel, and runs away. Nothing makes sense. It's all kabuki theater. We're living in the Matrix. We are being told what to believe, and we're all believing it. And this is the greatest accomplishment of the left and the rhinos too. And I just call them elites. And what is that accomplishment? They have made our society, our culture, our nation trust no one and nothing. I've said this many times. Someone could walk right up on TV, on camera, shoot someone point blank, turn around, give up, give everything away, and there would be a segment of society, rightfully, that would say, I don't believe this. I don't believe it. Something's not right. And you know what? That person that questioned, those people that question this would have every right to, because you've been lied to ad nauseum for decades. For decades. Building 7 and 9/11 falls on its own. Falls on its own. The two Twin Towers implode inward. People are on tape saying, being told there's a second plane. No, there was no second plane. I didn't see a second plane. I just saw an explosion. People are on the base of the building saying we heard explosions down. No, you didn't. We can't go back to the moon because we destroyed all of the records and everything we needed to go back to the moon. We destroyed it. I don't know how we destroyed it, but we just destroyed it and lost it. Okay. Because we would literally like to know how to get a human or an animal or a living creature past the Van Allen radiant belt. Because you guys did it in 1960s and 70s, the late 60s, early 70s. You did it. But we can't go back there because you lost the technology. Damn it. Only if you would have been able to preserve that data, we could be going back to the moon. Ten years ago, if you showed me a clip of me today saying those two things about 9/11, the moon landing, I would have thought, oh, my dear Lord, what has happened to you, JJ? How is the left portraying this text message between the two lovers? It will make you nauseated if you have not seen it already. This is a reporter talking about how beautiful, calming, loving this text was. I know you think right now before you see the video, you're like, JJ, you're making this up. Oh, really? Watch this. Go ahead and play this, please, Logan.
Let me go back to it.
Logan, I'm
You've
sorry.
just
It's
killed.
not that one. It is. Yep, it's that one on the left. I just saw it. Thanks. Can you play that, please?
An alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
It was tough.
Dear God, you can't make this. Brandon doesn't like me curse, and I don't like to curse all the time. How do you report that? This is how sick our society is and how disgusting our media is. That text exchange was loving. The duality of being a murderer and someone that likes to bang a dude dressed up as a woman. Isn't that loving? It's almost Shakespearean. We really need to maybe cut that out and maybe give it to I don't know, Celine Dion, and she could put it into like some words and make a song out of it. Hell, let's go to Broadway and create a show around that text message. You can't make this up. You cannot. You couldn't get on LSD, pumped up on some heroin, shot of coke in the nose, little fentanyl sprinkled in there, and drinking some alcohol down in it. And even after all that buzz and all that craziness, you couldn't come up with this. There's no way. There's no way. The duality. What a freaking loser. The duality. We're gone, America. We're hurtling down this road. We got maybe 1-2 off ramps left. That's it. I'm telling you. And even when we jump off that off ramp, we're going so fast and so hard. We're never going to be able to stop at the bottom. We're going to crash. It's going to be ugly, but it'll be a little better than crashing into a brick wall. But we're close, man. You can feel it. Anybody that has any kind of intellectual honesty, any type of understanding of reality, feels it, knows it, understands it, believes it's coming. Can you play this, Logan, number 7? I'm sorry, it went out of the lineup. But go, the Bannon. Can you play this? Because he's going to talk about this. This is insanity. This text message, this belief that it's all okay, and this is about 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long. Can you just play probably the first 2 minutes of it, Logan? Let's listen to what Steve Bannon says. He's spot on.
Let me go back to it. You've just killed one of the most prominent people in your generation, and supposing your motive is that's where you killed him, right? You assassinated him. Probably the first living thing you ever killed in your life, and you did it in front of 3,000 people. The whole world, this is a global event, very quickly. Your adrenaline, and you also know, because you tell your parents when they contact you, you're just going to kill it. So you know that your last moments on earth are now enveloping you. That you know that. You just shot this guy. It's all over the news everywhere. And the cops are either going to kill you in a shootout or you're going to kill yourself before they take you, right? So your last moments on this earth are with you. And you're telling me that you write your boyfriend and say, Dad's going to be so mad about Grandpa's rifle. Dad's going to be so mad about Grandpa's rifle. Dude,
stop that.
Your father is supposedly mad.
You're afraid of your grandpa's rifle. What's Grandpa going to say? What's my dad going to say about me misusing? Don't worry, son. The duality of your love and your murder is going to make everything okay. It's a sonnet. We live in Alice in Wonderland. We live in a matrix. We are in a matrix. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. I rewatched that movie the other week, about 2 weeks ago, and I remember sitting there going, holy smokes, we're in the matrix. Holy smokes, I am living in the matrix. How do you get prepared? Well, the reason why I have the sponsors I do is because I believe in being prepared. And one way you're prepared, as I talked about Peg Club 24/7 and Patriots Made, is you need to be physically prepared. Like, both spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, yes, but your physical needs to be prepared and ready. Patriots Made, go to patriotsmade.com. And the other way that I want you to be prepared is sat phone, to get a sat phone, to get a Starlink, to get a generator, and to get what I have been calling for since I partnered with Sat Club, Sat 123. And that is when they sent me my first ballistic backpack that I gave my son. And at first, right, you hear ballistic backpack. What in God's name? Well, what in God's name am I doing? I'm protecting my son and my wife and myself. Where are the targets of the mentally ill transgender? Schools. More specifically, Christian schools. Where does my son go? To a Christian school. Where did Charlie Kirk go? To all the schools. Are you telling me those two? If I went 10 minutes before and got the microphone from Charlie Kirk and say, I think everybody needs a ballistic backpack, they would mock me. Some of them would go, that's a pretty damn good idea. But majority of them would be mocking me. What if I gathered all those 2,000 to 3,000 people after they witnessed Charlie Kirk get assassinated and said, hey, the offer still stands. I have a backpack. You need it from school. It has a ballistic backpack. I would sell out. I would sell out. I would sell out. What would have happened? What happened? I'm assuming this happened at that school in Utah, the moment that those shots rang out, or shot was rang out, is all of the communications was jammed, so that all the LEOs and special forces and special units rolling in could have the airwaves completely free for them. Wouldn't you love to have a sat phone in your Faraday pack, in your ballistic backpack that you could pull out, call your mom, dad, say, look, I'm okay, or hey, I need help. I need someone to come get me. I'm at this junction of the school. Please, someone come get me. Just go to the website. Just go and look. That's all I'm asking. Just go and look. Be prepared. You don't want to be prepared? That's fine. That's on you. I'm just offering you something that allows you to prepare and protect your family. sat123.com/JG, or the number on the screen. Man, Logan, this is a fast. I'm looking at my clock on the left. I got 4 minutes, but I want to get this in. I want to show. I can't believe that I have to talk about this. It's as if I'm living in what's that TV show that was on Prime? It's off a book, The Man in the High Castle, where there's two alternative realities. I'm living in an alternative reality. I'm living in the Kamala Harris administration. Why? Because the new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, under the Harris administration, just said this yesterday. Go ahead and play this, Logan.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action.
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone.
What in God's name did she just say? She's going to target hate speech? Hate speech? What is hate speech? It's whatever the people in the power say it is. Is that the new attorney general for Kamala Harris? Watch Tucker Carlson. Logan, let's just play about 2 minutes of this, of Tucker Carlson talking about Pam Bondi and the insanity of hate speech versus free speech.
Hope that Charlie Kirk's death won't be used by a group we now call bad actors to create a society that was the opposite of the one he worked to build. You hope that. You hope that a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if it is, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience than that, ever. And there never will be. Because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think. There is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul. A human being with a soul, a free man, has a right to say what he believes, not to hurt other people, but to express his views. And by the way, that thinking, and not to pile on the Attorney General, who's a very nice person, but that thinking that she just articulated on camera there is exactly what got us to a place where some huge and horrifying percentage of young people think it's okay to shoot people you disagree with, to kill Nazis for saying things they don't like. Why do they believe that? How did we get here? Is it the video games? Is it the SSRIs? Yeah, probably. But what it really is 12 and then 16 years of indoctrination in our schools at the hands of people who tell them that, who say exactly what the Attorney General just said. Well, there's free speech, which of course we all acknowledge is important, so important. But then there's this thing called hate speech. Hate speech, of course, is any speech that the people in power hate, but they don't define it that way. They define it as speech that hurts.
Yeah, that hurts people. Hate speech is what hurts people. You could come into my show at any given time and say, whoa, he's hurting some people. Yeah, but I'm speaking the truth. This is what I believe. It doesn't matter, JJ. You're a vile human being. This is hate speech. You know what? Charlie Kirk was speaking hate speech. Let's shoot Charlie Kirk in the neck and kill him in front of everybody. Okay. I think Pam Bondi might be a little over her skis. How about this, Pam Bondi? How about we stop looking at hate speech? And why don't we arrest people that were in Epstein, raping children, people that I interviewed? What about the people who committed treason against America in the last administration, like easily proved treason? The Doge found people that were skimming the Social Security Administration to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars a month. The NGOs were funneling money to politicians. And yet not one single arrest, not one indictment, not one anything. What do we do, America? I'll be honest. I don't know at this point. I just don't know anymore. We're that far gone.
All right, welcome to Code Blue. It's September the 15th, 2025, Monday. And so, first of all, I just want to say our hearts go out to Charlie Kirk's wife and his family and all of his mother, father, and any siblings he has, any direct family. You know, it's devastating. And, you know, I'm sure many of you out there are like us. You know, I didn't know Charlie Kirk real well as far as his stance for Jesus Christ, but I have come to learn more. And he was very much a Bible apologist. He stood on the Bible, the principles. So, you know, he believed in marriage. He believed in children. He believed in community. He believed in Jesus Christ, and he very much so was a believer. And so he was martyred. He really was. And I think this is literally a time in our country, as we've seen thousands upon thousands of people, many young people at colleges and et cetera, coming together. We saw sporting events over the weekend, concerts where literally tens and tens of thousands of people came together, and prayer vigils. We've seen them coming together in other countries. I believe it was in London where they had a march. So, what this is doing, it's really, to me, this is it's setting the tide. I mean, there is good and there's evil. And, we have to choose which one we serve. Are we going to serve God, or are we going to serve man? And that's really what Charlie stood for. He stood for God and biblical principles when so many others stood against him. And of course, they said he was hateful because he just wouldn't bow to their lifestyle. He wouldn't bow to anything goes. He believed that God created the heaven and the earth, that, the Big Bang Theory didn't do it. He didn't believe in evolution, and that we're just animals that evolved, and we have these animal instincts, and that we can just go out there and do whatever we want to do, have relations, sexual, whatever, with whomever, however. And he believed in marriage between a man and a woman. He believed in children. He was very much against abortion and racism. The whole DEI stuff is about really dividing people, and he was against that because the Bible's against that. We're one race. We're of one blood. We all came from Adam and Eve, and really Noah, right, and his 3 sons. And so, anyway, this is what he promoted. And so we see now is just a time for all of us believers in Jesus Christ to really strengthen one another, pray for one another. Of course, pray for Charlie and his family and his wife, Erica. Wow, what a marvelous job she did coming out and speaking on his behalf. And she's saying she's going to take his legacy and Turning Point USA and continue to go forward. And we're going to pray that she does. There's literally tens of thousands of new chapters that have started. I think I read somewhere there were, I think maybe 1,800 chapters, and now there's the first day it went to like 18,000. I think now it's over 30,000. And so these are probably on college campuses, but there's also what I read, there's high school groups that can get started, churches that can get involved. So I just believe that this is going to be a revival. I really believe that. I believe there's going to be literally tens of thousands of young men and women that are going to rise up and be the Charlie. They're going to be like Charlie, as far as they're not going to be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and not be ashamed of living out their life based on biblical principles as the Lord instructs us to do. So with that, we're just going to continue to pray for Charlie and his family, for this country, for peace and love, because that's, we don't retaliate. This was a horrible, horrible act, but we as believers in Jesus Christ, we do not retaliate with violence or vengeance. We retaliate in love, and we know that Charlie is not dead. He's resting in the arms of Jesus Christ. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, and we thank God for that. And so we're going to honor him, and we're going to just do the right thing. And I pray for revival throughout all of America, really all throughout the world. And so with that, Brooke, you want to let's talk about your thoughts there with Charlie, and then we'll I guess maybe move into some of the medical freedom stuff that we had planned today. I just kind of started off the cuff, and this is it's just so hard that there's it's hard to I still want to remember where we are with Charlie Kirk and how things are going with that. But Brooke, go ahead. You want to?
Well, I've gone through the gamut, just like all of the whole world, all these young people, first shock, and then anger, and then more anger, and then just gut-wrenching sadness and heartbreak when you think about, the loss of the family, this children not having their father and the wife not having her husband. But the thing is that Charlie wasn't just a regular guy. He wasn't just telling his opinion. He was a very persuasive person. He had a God-given gift to communicate in a compassionate and logical way that actually challenged the narratives and indoctrination that has been poured to these young people for the past 30 or 40 years. But he's able to really communicate these things in such a way. He didn't treat people differently. He actually treated people that disagreed with him with more compassion and kindness. He gave a microphone to the people that had opposing opinions, and that's what he wanted. He wanted the opportunity to see what they were saying and then logically dismantle it and take it to a truth. And he had more biblical understanding than most theologians, much less someone of 31 years old. And so I was always very impressed with him. But I really have thought about this a lot, and about the visceral glee that the wicked people have had at this tragic and very graphic thing that happened. Anybody that can celebrate that, and they're just really, I don't even know what to say. They're just, if they can be so offended at the logical, biblical ways that he presented a conservative message, those people have not been exposed to any biblical truth. And so I think that the problem is not just in the leftist propaganda, but it's also in our churches and spiritual leaders not telling people the truth about what the Bible says about these very important issues. Because anybody that reads the Bible, anybody that has taken time to study God's Word, they wouldn't be shocked with anything that Charlie said. So I think that spiritual leaders, churches, these progressive churches and seeker-friendly, really soft, you're exactly how God wants you to be, without any repentance, without any self-examination, not allowing people to strive for a closer, more intimate relationship with God through repentance and, true change. I think that's why they're so offended. Those ideas are foreign to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was about free speech for sure, and he promoted that. I mean, that's what America was founded on. The founding fathers, it's all about free speech. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, Republican, independent, whatever. Free speech is just it's vital to America, and so he had his side, which was conservative, which was biblical principles. But like Brooks said, he challenged. He went to the campuses. He went out there and he brought those others to the microphone that had the opposing opinions, and let them speak. And of course, he had to stand up to them, because I mean it's brutal. Because many times if you don't go along with the world, if you don't soften up, and they turn the table on you. They call you a hater, they call you a bigot, a racist, etc. When all you're doing is saying, "Hey, listen, the Word of God says there's a man and there's a woman. There's two different sexes, and that's all there is. And God created them that way, and they're beautiful, and they're in His image. And marriage is between that man and woman. And you have children, and they're blessed and sacred, and they're not to be killed in the mother's womb, and not to be misaligned and corrupted their minds, and just on and on." And so he stood for all that. And the others, they hate that. And why? I mean, nobody wants to be called out for their sin, and that's what it boils down to. Sin, when they're called out, they get convicted, and they want to be loved and accepted no matter what way they're living, no matter what kind of sin they're involved in, even if it be a total sexual perversion, and even murdering children and mutilating them, even with these sex changes, etc. So with that, we stand as, Brooke and I, we're devout believers in Jesus Christ. We believe that this is one of the reasons we're in the fight. We're in this fight for medical freedom. It started with COVID, but really, the medical community is so radical, has such an ideology that is non-biblical. Medicine, when I studied as a physician, they teach us that evolution is not just a theory, but that's fact. As we study about the human body and biology, they really present evolution as a fact. And so we see what that spills over to. It spills over to, it makes us, think of us. We're just another part of the animal kingdom. We're not sacred beings. We're just animals, and we have these instincts, and whatever they may be, whether it be a sexual instinct or a instinct to whatever. It's the survival of the fittest. It's that sort of mentality, and so we see that when we don't teach our children biblical principles, and we have that for them to base it on, then we see this is what happens to society. It just keeps unfolding into total depravity, where anything goes, and nothing is sacred, and there's no civilization. I mean, there's not even law and order anymore. And so that's what we see. Now, and I don't want to point fingers and compare, but we know if this would have happened to one on the other side that was one of these extremists with ideologists or whatever, gosh dog, burning, looting, rioting on the streets would probably be what's happening. But we see what's happening in this instance is people are going what? They're going to prayer. They're going to the Lord, the people that were in favor of what Charlie Kirk was doing. So, and that's where we're going to stay. We're gonna let the Lord fight these battles. And so with that, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about some things that are happening in the medical freedom movement today. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Would you like to gain access to over 20 years of my radio shows, TV shows, my books? I've written 15 books, and most of those books are ebooks now. And we have conference DVDs, conferences where we filmed our conferences at the Ozarks, literally starting 20 years ago. It's all available in our archived vault. All you have to do is go to worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and for a reasonable monthly fee, you gain access to over 20 years of Christian worldview programming, news, information, books, documentaries, and a powerful search engine. And folks, it's a great way not only to educate yourself, equip yourself, but it's a big way that you can help fund our continuation as a broadcast network. Please check it out. worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, and help us continue pushing out a Christian worldview.
All right, welcome back to Code Blue. So, Thomas, can you roll that clip we have there, that minute or so clip about the upcoming?
More than 40% of American children now have at least one chronic health condition.
Autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile diabetes, ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics.
What the heck is happening?
When we're talking about an autoimmune disease crisis, shouldn't we look closest at the one product designed to alter our immune system for life? There'd be one easy study to rule it out. Compare vaccinated children to completely unvaccinated children.
It's the CDC's responsibility to do those studies, and they have refused.
What we would need